Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Rick Matsoko Tere here, back again with another video. Journey to £1,000,000, episode 21. We're into the 20s now, episode 21. And actually, I thought I'd do an interesting thing, which is a book review of a book that I found so impactful on a journey to £1,000,000, which is The Jewish Phenomenon. This is the book, The Jewish Phenomenon: 7 Keys to the Enduring Wealth of a People. It was written by Steven Seilbiger. He's an American. It was in 2007. Amazing book. One of the reasons I'm even on this journey is to teach my community, secrets of wealth. So I thought, why not go there? Because the success of the Jewish community, especially in America, is a well-known thing. Jews are known to be successful. It's one of the reasons why certain people actually are anti-Semitic. And even though they'd rather cover this up with some other kind of reasoning, but jealousy is a powerful and very pervasive emotion. So we know what you're up to. We know what you're up to. Consider these 2007 statistics though in the US. I'll quote you some statistics here. Like, for example, the percentage of Jewish households with an income that was greater than $50,000 was double that of non-Jewish households. Now, another thing is that, on the other hand, the percentage of Jewish households with income less than $20,000 was half that of non-Jews. 40%, for example, of the top 40 of the Forbes 400 list were all tallied as Jewish. 40% of the top 40 people in there. A third of American multimillionaires at that time were tallied as Jewish. 20% of professors at leading universities were Jewish. This is considering that Jews maybe made up at that time, 1 to 3% of the American population. 40% of partners in leading law firms in New York and also in Washington were Jews. And also another statistic, 30% of American Nobel Prize winners in science and 25% of all American Nobel Prize winners were Jewish. This is just mind-blowing. So, I'm always a learner. Personally, I'm a learner. And, when I see success, I prefer to see what it is that the person, and in this case, that community, is doing that I can take, that I can apply and get more success in my own life. So when I came across this book by Steven Seilbiger, I was quite intrigued to see, what we as a community can learn from the Jewish community. So the premise of the whole book, the premise of the Jewish phenomenon, is that there's 7 keys to the enduring wealth of a people. So this is where Stephen groups the principles that make Jews, despite being quite a small portion of the population, very successful. So here's the secrets. I'll just quote the secrets to you. I can explain some other things later. But the secrets. Number 1, understand that wealth is portable. Wealth is knowledge. Second thing, take care of your own and they will take care of you. The third principle is that successful people are professionals and entrepreneurs. The fourth principle is that you develop your verbal confidence, or chutzpah, as the Jews would call it. And number 5, be selectively extravagant, but prudently frugal. Number 6, take pride in individuality, that is, encourage creativity. And number 7, be psychologically driven to prove something. I thought these things, even if you were just to take anything, those 7 keys, you can take them. And if you want, all my videos are always accompanied by an article that I've written. So if you want some of these things written down, just go above or below, wherever the article is, wherever the description is, and take these things down. Take these things down, copy and paste what you need to. So I found that the book was extremely powerful. That's what when I read this book, I found that it was full of stats. I found that it was full of proof and references. I won't be including all the those in this review. Read the book. That's why the book is there for. The examples, the case studies, all of them. That's what you can do. Go get the book yourself. The Jewish Phenomenon: 7 Keys to Enduring Wealth of a People. Go get it. The author, I found that he was really eager to show. Not just tell it, but to show it, to show that, the success in the numbers and also in the results in order to support the success of his people. Now, I did notice one thing. There was a hint of defensiveness on some things because, he went to, for example, there was a point when he went to lengths to try and show that Jews were not as frugal and as stingy as maybe popular culture would like to show. And I thought that was funny because I know the feeling. When your community is being stereotyped, it stings a little bit. And, it's only natural for Steven Saubiger to, come to the defense of his people. But, okay. Let me share with you some of the things that I learned from the book, The Jewish Phenomenon, 7 Keys to the Enduring Wealth of a People. So, Jews have grasped that, the importance of getting an education. That's one thing. And I'm not talking about going to night school to, graduate high school. I'm talking going to college and going to university and to postgraduate school. This requires being able to defer gratification, going, you have to defer gratification sometimes, not to get a job and not be paid very much so that you can be doing, extra schoolwork, but it's for a bigger payoff later. This is an ability that Jews have developed very well. The Jewish secret is how, they have come to fully embrace the idea of a good education and also execute that good education. The question to most American, Jews is not if their kid is going to go to college, but it's which school they're going to. It's a given that the kids are going to college. The chances of you doing well in life, they're better if an education has opened your mind. You know the rules. I always say that the world system is based on certain rules, and in education, in a university, will show you those rules, and you're actually playing by the rules. Now, personally, I'm always saying that, you should make sure you're getting good value for your education because, the tuition has really gone up recently. So sometimes it's not a good investment, but otherwise, go for it. Get an education. A quote that I liked from, the author's dad that he had with him when he was really young. I want to read it to you because I thought this was really powerful. The dad said to him, if you like to play around, you need to earn your free time. It takes a good education and good grades. Then you can get a good job and make good money. Having earned your way, you can play around for a much longer time with far more expensive toys. Now, Steve, if you get that out of order, the system does not work. You can play for a little while, but then you end up with a few inexpensive toys that eventually break. Then you're left working even harder for the rest of your life with no toys and no fun. If only more of us would have had these kind of conversations with our children, our communities would really, really be benefited. Another thing that I learned about is chutzpah. Call it verbal self-confidence, if you will. This is the ability to speak up, to say your piece, to ask questions, to make demands. Jews are known to refuse to be given scraps if they've been busting their hump to do the work. And when it comes to business, when it comes to the law and to the arts, the ability to express your will and your opinion often serves as a big advantage. You ask to be paid what you're worth. You're more willing to negotiate the price of your products. And also, people won't walk all over you. And if we as a community want a seat at the table that the movers and the shakers of this world occupy, we have to be willing to say it and to say it loud and proud. But verbal confidence, I find that it's also a crucial key in unlocking the other secrets of wealth creation and wealth wisdom. If you want to teach your children, for example, to be creative, you need to be able to encourage them to speak up while asking questions, say at the dinner table. If you have a culture where your children cannot speak to the parents, they cannot question things like their religion, they can't question why they're going to school, and you don't have the confidence to answer them, then they're not going to grow up to be very creative people, to be their own people, to be like independent thinkers. Okay, so another gem that I picked up in the book was the ability to be frugal. Now, to accumulate wealth, you have to learn how to save, and also you need to learn how to spend money wisely. And many Jews have mastered that. That's just true. Whether you want to get out of the grind of a job and start, your own business, or whether you just want to save for your child to go to university debt-free, you must be a saver. Pick it up, that one. And the last piece of wisdom that struck me as I read the Jewish phenomenon was that Jews have ingrained in them a desire to do tasks and jobs that require mental work. Do you understand that real wealth creation is a product of your head and not your hands? While a lot of people are hardworking, work done with your mind will reward you even more, guys. Be the planner, be the strategist, be the leader. The guy who then pushes the wheelbarrow, or the guy who operates the machine, that guy isn't paid as much as the person who manages him, though the person who negotiates the contracts, or even better yet, the person who dreamt up the whole enterprise at beginning. Mental work. You're paid much more for mental work. Jewish immigrants to America in the late 1800s, many times they would start as factory workers and also as manual laborers. But by the second generation, that wasn't the case. They tried their hardest and they, bust their hump to ensure that virtually none of their children were doing those same manual jobs 30 years later, 20 years later. They tried to get their kids into trades and to get them to educate them so that they become professionals. And this is a secret that we can learn. Make sure that your kids go up. If you're a care worker and you don't like being a care worker because it's like hurting your back, why are you encouraging your children to be care workers? Make sure that when your children step up, they can do something even better. Something mental, preferably, because that's how they can do it. So, what can we learn from this book? I never want to leave you without practical ways to be able to convert the wisdom of a book. This is the thing with my book reviews, into tangible results. I want you to be able to do into tangible results. So I've got 7 things that you can try. You can pick and choose. Personally, I'm already applying these into my life, and they're already, making me, just giving me results. So number one, build the ability to defer gratification, both in you and in your kids, in your family. Number 2, minimize support of your local community by members of other groups. And this is important because a lot of times, whatever group ends up, giving you guys charity, they end up owning you. Usually that charity comes with a caveat, like, give us your vote or something like that. So don't let them have your destiny in their hands. Let's build our own community actions. Number 3, within your career, leave time for entrepreneurial pursuits. This is really important because you can never become, take it to the next level working for somebody else. You can't. Number 4, encourage your children to ask questions. I find that, when people ask questions and ask questions and ask questions, the mind is open. The answer is uncovered. Solutions come out. But when people are allowed to ask questions, things where people are not asking questions, are not allowed to ask questions, religion, political agendas and ideologies where people are not allowed to ask questions, they never work out. Number 5, find everyday frugalities that will save you lots in the long run. Already, I've taken 2 or 3 things. Everyday frugalities, simple, frugal things you can do that will just change, they will help you. This is the money that you can then invest later on. Number 6, build your own creative engine. It's time we became creative, guys. It's time we became creative. We can't just continue to work for other people. And trust me, I work for a company, for a big company, but I'm always trying to be creative. I'm doing these like videos and creating and teaching, being creative. Do something that's creative as well. And the last thing, take personal responsibility. We've got to take personal responsibility for decisions, and we have to create results. It's enough for us. It's no longer enough to just blame others, to say, oh, this group, this like race is the reason why we are in poverty. No, it's not about that. We've got to take responsibility for ourselves. So I hope you guys have a great Sunday. I know this will be a longer one than usual, but I hope you enjoy it. Have a great day. Later, guys.